Might work. What are you doing? Well, oh, did you wait? Did you not have one of those before?
I did. I do
Oh,
now.
okay. Like you're hiding behind a monolith. Oh, I see. I'd rather have the real. That's why it's so big. I was like, it looks so huge. Is something you don't hear very often.
Happy Monday, everybody. Happy Monday. We are.
What what? How did you procure such a thing?
Aaron Greenberg had helped me out source one of these.
I see.
There you go. Mini fridge unit. One mini fridge in the flesh.
I think you should make this a permanent part of your backdrop.
I don't know like where I would even put it.
Just put it where you're sitting. I mean, honestly, we'd rather look at that. Okay, I don't know what's going on.
Jesus, man. Just coming out on all cylinders this morning.
Yep.
So, anyways, it's kind of heavy. I mean,
Yeah, sure. That's a fridge.
well, it's technically not even a fridge. It's a thermoelectric cooler, which
What are you
is
gonna
not
put
a
in
fridge.
there, like Monster drink or something green.
Yeah, I mean,
Can you see through the front? Oh, you can't even see through it though. It's like it's solid, right?
Yeah, I mean, yes, it is.
Yeah. I mean, well, it doesn't have like a glass door or whatever.
No. I mean, this is unapologetically plastic.
Right.
What's his
Nice.
name? That ruined Apple's port situation. What's Johnny Ive?
Johnny Ives, yeah.
Yeah. Even his name doesn't have a lot of letters, but it's probably why he hates ports.
Right. He even spells Johnny with less letters than most people named Johnny. It's true. That's an interesting correlation.
I wonder if it's some sort of like emotional, like psychological thing. Maybe he should go talk
Maybe
to
he
someone.
really did have a longer name and he shortened it over time, and that this is like just the way he is.
Mm-hmm.
Now he just goes by J.I. You know?
Not to be confused with AI, but this would be.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, what are we doing? It's Monday.
So it is Monday. I don't know if you saw this, but the Halo Infinite campaign reviews are out.
I'm trying not to read them, so if you ruin it, I will drive to
I will
Emmaus.
not. I've only played the very beginning of it, so
Okay.
mine is just a preview of sorts. But I will tell you a couple of things that I think will matter to you. One is we've talked about this kind of frustration when you move from game to game. So if you're like a Call of Duty guy and you try to play Battlefield, it just feels weird.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever. You can mix them. You know, you go to Fortnite, you go to whatever game, and this I have never in my life, I don't think, picked up a shooter like this and immediately it was perfect. Like it is so tight. I don't really have words to describe why it's so good. It's not just familiar, right? Because I played Halo, obviously. It's perfect. Like it's just perfect. And I don't know if it was like the last year that they took or whatever, but something is very right there, and that's really neat. The other thing, just from a storyline perspective, I think what you're going to have to do, if you haven't, is go back and kind of bone up on the storyline. The first three Halo games I played multiple times each, and also Halo 3 ODST. Like I played through those games, the single player campaign, multiple times, attacking things from different angles, trying to find stuff. They were just such great games. And the storyline I thought was interesting and kind of I don't know, classic, for lack of a better term, Star Wars kind of style, science fiction. It was great, you know. Halo 4, Halo 5, I could not get into for my life, and I tried multiple times on both, and I had to look up to see how they ended. Like I never played those games, you know, and I think it's fair to say in many ways they kind of jumped the shark in Halo 4 and Halo 5. So Halo Infinite is a really neat return to form and a big improvement. And this is not a spoiler. They've added one major tool or weapon or whatever, which is a grappling hook. So, shooters went through a weird period of like wall climbing several years back. I think maybe Destiny might have started it.
I think it was
Not
Titanfall.
Destiny. Titanfall, thank you.
Yeah.
And, Black Ops 3 adopted it. A lot of people hated that. In Black Ops 4, they scaled it back to one character class has a grappling hook. This is perfect in the same way that the rest of the game is perfect. It's exactly the right tool. It's this wonderful way to get to areas you couldn't otherwise get to, obviously. You can also do like kind of combo attacks with it, which is really cool. it's great. And the beginning is like, and again, no spoilers, but you have to go through a sequence where you like, do you want to, how do you look
Mhm.
up and down and all that kind of stuff. So it's as hackneyed as it always is, but you're fighting aliens within 5 minutes. It's like, it's perfect. And again, I don't know
Have you played the
how they've
multiplayer? I'm curious.
yeah, yeah. So that I wasn't as impressed by,
I'm,
right?
I'm
And
shocked, surprised.
I'm going to go back to it, of course. For now, I'm going to focus on this.
Hmm.
This is nice because the Call of Duty's been kind of falling short for me for a while.
Right. That's why I was
Um,
wondering about multiplayer.
yeah, yeah. I still hold up Black Ops 4 as the pinnacle for multiplayer. And that's something I've gone back to just to verify that in my head. Like this, oh yeah, it's still, and granted, familiarity is part of it. But there's something perfect about the play mechanics. And again, this is a hard thing to describe in ways that would make sense to anybody. But there's something, the feel to the game, the way things respond, the historic problem, and probably all shooters, but Call of Duty certainly, where some guy is shooting at you and you run up behind a corner, and after you get behind a corner, you're dead. And
Hmm.
in his view, he shot you before you got there, but there's like a latency kind of lag thing. I just feel like Black Ops 4, for whatever reason, does the best job of that. I have played some Halo Infinite multiplayer. It's beautiful. I will say that. It's much better looking than like the latest Call of Duty. I mean, it's not even close. But that's like this game. It is so polished. Both multiplayer and single player. Just the look and the kind of feel of it. I am impressed by that. And I lost so much interest in Halo over the years, especially in the recent couple of games. The fact that I'm interested in this at all is a mini miracle, and I think shows some hope for this game. Among the people who are less than the ardent fans, because obviously there's some millions of people who just love Halo and they don't
Hmm.
care. But I think attracting other players, especially in a world where things have changed, right? It was kind of like Doom and Quake in the 90s. And then I think as the 21st century started, this was probably the first big shooter and the first big shooter on console. I know some people are going to quibble with that, but in the sense that it had good multi-end single player. Halo 2 was what made Xbox Live Gold, right? It's
Yeah.
the matchmaking system came out of Halo. Um, Call of Duty happened, right? And I would say the next big milestone probably is Fortnite, right? With or Battle Royale in whatever form. So Halo Infinite enters this world that has changed,
Hmm.
and so it has to kind of compete. And I think it holds up great. I really do.
You know what the other big drop is this week, Paul?
No.
Dead to me. Dead to me.
What? Oh,
The new,
it's like are you going to say like a Stardock product of some kind?
well, we are releasing Fences 4
Yes.
this week, so that is
Okay.
coming on. I think
Yeah.
not I think I know. At least we're targeting Wednesday. Uh, but no, the Pacific map, the first new map for
Yes.
Warzone, comes out. I think on Wednesday too, but 24 hours earlier. Maybe it's tomorrow. I don't know. It's soon.
So two
Sometime.
things that you play Warzone a lot, right?
A
Is that your
lot.
primary?
Yep.
That's your game, right?
Yep.
So you have to be a little worried about it, right? Given how Vanguard has gone. But on the other
Yeah.
hand, Warzone is whatever engine it is. It's not like they're switching engines,
Nope.
like they do from Call of Duty game to Call of Duty game. So
And it's not even the same company. Sledgehammer made Vanguard, I think.
yeah, and
This is
okay.
it's not
still
them making the Warzone.
Okay.
So
So it's probably going to be okay. So it's
Well,
a
it
change
better
of
be.
scenery. It's going to be better than okay.
if it's not, there will be a slow and steady mental decline on this podcast into anger and hatred, just taking away the things
Can
that
we
I love.
decline further?
Well, we haven't found the bottom yet. We've gotten close. I think we've bounced off of it a couple times, like a sunken
Yeah.
submarine. But
Yes.
anyways, Microsoft confirmed that they are going to ship things. It sounds like faster than annual updates, which goes against their annual update policy. But
Actually,
we're not
I
going
meant to pick your brain about that one because in my mind, they said this, right? Like
Yeah.
this to me is a fact. The version, there'll be a Windows 11 22H2. That will be the next major version of Windows 10, the first feature update, right?
Mhm.
That's been explicit. But my understanding, and again, in my head, I extruded this into a fact, is that Microsoft would release features before then, like that They're testing things in the dev channel and the beta channel, and some of those features will appear somehow. We didn't know how, but midstream,
Mm-hmm.
uh, whatever feature, you right click the recycle bin and it doesn't look like Windows 10 or something or whatever. And just before we go to, I mean, was that your understanding, or how would you have described this?
I don't know. I've read it multiple times, and
Yeah.
I still
don't know where it came from.
I still don't. The easiest one, start menu update that they showed off. What was that, last week or the week before? Whenever that was.
Mm-hmm.
They won't tell us, and I understand that they won't say because they might miss it by a month, and then people come out with the pitchforks. Fine, that's one thing, but they still haven't made it clear. Do we have to wait a year for this?
Right. Okay. See, I always felt like it was explicit somehow that we wouldn't have to wait a year for some of it. And I think you and I had discussed probably Friday. What does that mean for 22H2? Like if they release new features in midstream, which I guess they're going to, or they're opening that possibility up. What does that mean for the 2.0 or whatever? And we can speculate whatever we have to speculate because they haven't said. But I feel like some of the problems in Windows 11 are bad enough, or the missing features are needed enough that there's no reason not to. That they have to. They can't wait a year. It's crazy.
Perfect example. Clock on your second monitor.
I know.
That's a really type moment.
And I feel like all the changes they've made to servicing over the past couple of years have been designed for this very thing. That feature you just described as a shell feature. Microsoft doesn't typically upgrade the shell in a cumulative update that comes out randomly in March or something. But they can, and it seems like now they will. And yeah, you're right. Like all the right-click nonsense, the default apps interface changing back to something looking semi-normal, which, by the way, we should applaud. The start menu changes, whatever. I mean, these things need to happen, soon. It makes sense they wouldn't do it in 2021. Get through the holiday season. Everyone's going to be off for 2 or 3 weeks in December anyway. And then come back in January, and PC makers are going to announce new PCs, right? CS with 12th gen Intel processors. Maybe that's the right wave to put out some. I don't know if they have to name it or refresh, whatever. I don't know. I'd like to see. I don't want it to be that formal, honestly. What I'd like to see is January's Patch Tuesday happens. And here's one of the little shell updates, like the clock thing on the second screens.
Yeah.
And then February happens, or March, and it's like, okay, here's the start menu thing we did. And then, April, and okay, here's the default apps change that we promised.
Yeah, they could. There's a real easy name for this. They just call it Windows as a Service.
They are called servicing updates. Yeah.
So, anyways, also other things Sony said to be launched. Shouldn't surprise anybody. Game Pass, a true Game Pass competitor, sometime this spring.
Yep.
It's not.
They already have what is essentially a Game Pass competitor now, right? PS Now, but no. But yeah, and remember last year there was news of Microsoft and Sony partnering.
Yep.
On the Azure back end, so Sony's coming service could run at least in part on Azure, which whether that's interesting or not, I don't know, but I'm sure they'll come up with something good. They're not exactly middleweights in this market. So we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. Holds 12 soda cans, 2 snack shelves,
and 1 Xbox Series S.